indigenous talents are a gem from heaven, and we encourage them to stay at their home villages to serve their fellow tribesmen. The Republic of China, Taiwan, is the first and only country in the world to have specific national examinations for its indigenous peoples, a pride for Taiwan. Known for its scenery, Taiwan is surrounded by the sea, mountains, and girdled with rivers. A variety of ethnic groups live in Taiwan, with the indigenous tribes themselves featuring a mix of ethnic minorities. There are 14 indigenous tribes currently recognized by the government: the Amis, Atayo, Paiwan, Bunun, Yuma, Rukai, Tso, Sesiat, Yami, Thao, Kamalan, Truku, Sakizaya, and Sidik. Among the tribes, the larger ones are Amis, Paiwan, and Atayo, while the smallest is Sesiat. Their different languages, customs, and social structures endows Taiwan with a multicultural charm. Be it a piece of artwork or performances of song and dance, each is unique of the island country. Listen, the dialogue between the Green Mountains and Deep Valley. Watch, the harvest festivity where the power and beauty intertwine. The tribal villages are the most valuable assets of the indigenous peoples. It is also where their life starts and joy goes on.
原住民族特考是我国在世界上独一无二的考试制度，是政府为了积极照顾原住民的具体表现。基于人权是一个普世的价值，那原住民族的权利保障，也就是要落实世界各国人权重要的指标。同时是为了扶植原住民族的自我发展，并且积极维护原住民的语言、文化。因此，政府乃积极的规划原住民的权利保障政策及它的措施。原住民族特考，它的需要是在政府照顾原住民的就业权益，它所创设的一个公平的考选制度，这也符合了原住民族自治发展的需要，并且也促成了社会多元价值和公平正义的实现。
Human rights are a universal value, and looking after minorities is common international action. Since the United Nations Declaration on World Human Rights in 1948, the international community has been making efforts through various anti-discrimination declarations, agreements, conventions, and treaties of alliance to protect the survival and equality of indigenous peoples. Taiwan has adopted a positive and active policy under which a great number of measures are being carried out to ensure the rights of the indigenous tribes. An article on the indigenous peoples was first introduced to the amendment of the Constitution in 1991. In 1996, the Council of Indigenous People, a cabinet-level department, was officially established to administer nationwide indigenous affairs. In 2001, a law stipulating the employment rights of the indigenous peoples was formulated. A basic law governing the indigenous peoples was promulgated in 2005, providing firm legal basis to actively promote the development and increase the competitiveness of indigenous peoples.
我们就培育了非常多原住民的行政官员，从地方一直到中央。从就业的角度来说，当然是让原住民有更多到公职为同胞、为国家服务这样的一个就业的这个机会族人为族人服务它可能最大的意义，至少在现阶段是回归到让我们的政府对原住民的照顾能够按照他的意愿，按照他自己的文化脉络，按照他自己的历史情感去为他们服务，所以这个服务的品质绝对是更能够按照这个民族的 整个的情感的需要来去做哈。我觉得这个是台湾原住民行政一个很大的进步。
Item 12 of Article 10 of the Constitution Amendment stipulates that the government must ensure the protection and development of the status, political participation, education, and culture, as well as social welfare of the indigenous. Article 3 of the Civil Service Examination Law stipulates that the government shall hold special examinations divided into 5 levels, levels 1 to 5, for indigenous peoples, showing the government's determination to take care of the underprivileged. The very first examinations for indigenous people were held in 1956, a practice that upholds justice and equality. There have been several revisions of the examination system to meet social changes, including an increase of levels and categories, as well as a relaxation of the maximum age and physical exam criteria of the candidates. The revised system pays special attention to underprivileged groups, stressing the importance of human values and the representation of civil servants. The latter means sources of the civil servants must be diversified, coming from different ethnic groups, genders, social status, and educational backgrounds. There are 5 levels, levels 1 to 5, of examinations, divided into 2 independent regions for acceptance and allocation, namely a general acceptance and assignment region and the Lanyu region. The examinations are held simultaneously in 5 examination areas. Registration for the 2012 examinations started in mid-July, with a total of 4,845 candidates qualifying for the exams, which were held simultaneously on October 20th and 21st at 5 exam sites, enabling candidates to choose the location nearest to them. High-ranking officials in charge of the tests were much concerned about the exams. On the examination date, they inspected the sites and gave regards in person to those responsible for the exam administration.
原住民族特考的来讲的话，基本上是对于多元化文官的组成或多元化人事管理是一个非常好的一个制度。
全世界没有一个国家像我们台湾这样建构一个为少数又弱势的族群设计一个考试
To many candidates, these exams are an opportunity and a turning point. Only through redoubled efforts and elaborate preparations can a candidate come to the front. Outstanding indigenous talents are able to work for the government and at the same time serve their fellow tribesmen when they go into the government departments.
考上这个公务人员的话，当然希望能够发展一些原住民文化建设。
原住民特考是对我们原住民一个非常好的政策，它能够让我们比较弱势的族群可以有比较好的竞争力。
Announcement of the list of those passing the 2012 special examinations was made on December 4, 2012. On the announcement date, President Guan Zhong of the Examination Yuan was a special guest among other high-ranking officials who were there to congratulate the successful examinees and the entire staff in charge of the 2012 exam affairs for the indigenous peoples. An event that well illustrates the importance and significance of the ceremony, pointing out top candidates. Traditional indigenous song and dance were performed, indigenous dishes were served, and indigenous arts of innovation were displayed during the ceremony.
公务员他本身他是靠他的专业知识能力当然要热忱来为人民服务的，所以我们希望原住民同胞不认为他是弱势是少数民族而被排除在外，相反的我们还特别鼓励他们为他们来办理这个一个专门的考试。
Since 1956, more than 3,500 indigenous civil servants have been selected. They went back to their home villages to serve their fellow tribesmen and improve their well-being. The number of candidates is increasing year by year. The examinees are doing their best in hope of becoming successful in the open exams so that they can serve and make contributions to their fellow tribesmen. For successful candidates, this means the self-realization of being public servants in their capacity as indigenous people. They should gratefully thank the examination yuan for holding these meaningful examinations. When enjoying the success in exams, however, each candidate has his or her story, that is, tiring journeys behind the applause.
我们都是抱着破釜沉舟的心情来面对这个考试，因为其实考试的结果决定是我们往后人生。
做全职考生，那时候考试我就是算是发誓说我一定要考上。
但是我希望有朝一日我回到原乡的部落，我能够为原住民族群尽心尽力，不求回报。
As most indigenous tribes are located in the remote regions, people who intend to go back to their home villages to serve will make known the government policy of caring about the welfare of the indigenous people. With immense enthusiasm, these newly picked candidates enter government agencies to offer service to their home villages, hoping to establish records of impressive performance.
如果说乡镇公所啦，或者是我们所属机关有职缺的话，我都会尽量建议他们可以列原住民特考的职缺。
在台湾的原住民好幸福，政府的用心值得肯定。
优秀子弟有回到原乡服务的机会。透过这个考试，能让我们原住民生活更安定。
办这个考试，让我们的原住民出头天。
原住民族考试呢，是我国十分具有特色的一项考试，它的举办已经跨越了半个世纪之长，对于保障原住民的就业权益，特别是激发原住民的潜能，以及促成公职生涯的自我实现，功不可没。未来我们考选部将持续的协调用人机关提报原住民特考的职缺，除了定期举办考试之外，我们也将配合原住民自治法规，落实考用合一的目标，同时建构具有原住民族文化特色的考选制度，以彰显政府照顾弱势族群的政策及内涵。
Civil service special examination for indigenous people have existed for half a century, gaining a deep significance to the indigenous peoples for their rights of employment. Furthermore, the examinations have not only helped broaden the horizons for indigenous talents, but also sustained the development of their cultures, languages, customs, and social structures. The government of the Republic of China is proud of being the first and only country in the world to bring joy to its indigenous peoples by conducting special national examinations for them.
这是台湾之光，耶！